Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
Welcome back into the Outlaw Lawyer. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer are the managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer. They're your hosts. Also joining us on the program from Whitaker and Hamer, Cassandra Nicholas. She's remoting in from the Morehead City office. And speaking of locations, offices pretty much everywhere. Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and the aforementioned Morehead City. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate. If you've got a legal situation, you can always call the firm. We're doing questions today. Interesting because they are coming from the chatbot GPT. Josh asked the bot to give us some questions, and they are answering them for you today on the program. But if you've got your own set of questions, you can always call the firm. 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. Josh, take it away.
All right. On our list of questions, we're up to question, I guess 6. I'm calling it 6. My landlord is raising my rent by an unreasonable amount. What can I do to fight the increase? What do you think about that one, Cassandra?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Some states do
nothing
have,
in your face.
some states do have limits on the amount rent can be raised. They're rent-controlled states, like X percent per year is what the rent can be raised. North Carolina is not one of those states. So if you're in the term of a valid lease where you have a set rent amount and they're raising it during the term of that lease, then you could have some recourse. But if you've already moved on to month, or your lease is running out and they're asking you to renew at the higher amount, you can negotiate or move.
Yeah, find another house. Find another place to rent.
You know, it's amazing. When I was younger and I was a tenant, the landlord's always the bad guy, right? Always not repairing things or raising your rent, right? Doing something you don't want them to do. And then one day it kind of flips and you kind of side. It's like you side with the landlord a lot of times, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Star Wars where...
Spoken like a landlord.
Finish your Star Wars thought. I want to hear that.
Well, it's like Star Wars. Like when you're younger, you're always on the rebellion side. You're like, and then you get older and you're like, hey man, these guys are just trying to keep the peace, right? Maybe
Are you really?
Darth Vader.
Whoa, are you shifting to the dark side as you're older? You're floating around the Death Star, Josh?
Look, I'm just saying, if you look at Star Wars from like a perspective of like, what would you do if you had like the rebellion like here in Raleigh, like a wrecking shop and blowing up stuff?
I don't know, man, but we don't have to kill the kids, man. They killed the kids.
Oh, well, I'm not. Yeah, I just meant in general. I'm just in general.
Let's go on the record. We're not advocating.
Like a light dark side, like a gray
wiping
side.
out a young school of Jedi boys.
I think Cassandra just
Ewoks. I mean, think about those cute Ewoks. You're talking about siding with a group of people that are shooting little teddy bears.
Hey, think about it. You know what? I don't know why that's thought about. Think about a rabid Ewok. What does that look like? Just coming at you.
At your knees. They're small.
Playing basketball.
Coming at you hard, man.
I wish I could give this guy. I want to before I do this. I want to give Cassandra credit because I think she just invented a term. I think is going to gain some traction on our show. The gray side, not the dark side, not the rebellion. But there's probably a lot of people out there that were like, "Look, man, I just want to live my life on my farm on Tatooine. I don't want to get involved." So we're gonna do the gray side. But I saw a guy. God, I wish I could remember his Twitter handle or something. But he's
Bob 7892223.
I like to give people the credit but I saw this guy and he's been doing these AI. He gets these different ideas, and so he's having AI do art, like draw certain things. And so he did every president as a professional wrestler. And he got AI to draw it. It's fantastic, man. It entertained me for way longer than it should the other day.
Is it Cam Harless?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think that's him because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at George Washington.
It's fantastic.
George Washington. He's so swollen and ripped, man. That's great.
Yeah.
The Taft.
These are fun.
What was the big heavy president? Was that Taft?
I don't know, but Thomas Jefferson looks like a stud.
If you find the one that's like notoriously was like a big guy who like died in the bathtub, like they have him as like this huge like mountain of a man.
Martin Van Buren looks like he would give you the business, man.
If you hadn't Googled that, you should Google that. I would hopefully we gave that guy enough credit for his use.
It's Cam Harmless for sure. That's who it is, unless multiple people are doing it. But
all right,
this is great.
We got another question. I was injured on a construction site. Can I sue the contractor for damages? This is a lot like the cruise ship question, I think, Cassandra.
Although it can be North Carolina specific. This is definitely a maybe. Like, like the cruise ship, is it your fault or is it their fault? Were you supposed to be there? Did you sign an indemnity agreement that says, if I enter this work site and I'm injured, that's my problem?
Right.
These are
this is a really
fact-specific
fact-based question.
Exactly. Very fact-specific,
maybe.
because it could go either way depending on the set of facts.
Yeah, this is a good time to remind everybody that North Carolina is still a true negligent state, right? So if you're negligent at all in your injuries, you're not going to be able to recover. It's not like New York or California where it's more comparative negligence, where if you're 40% at fault, you can get 40% of your damages. This is you contributed, right? If you did anything to contribute to the negligence, you're out, man. You're not gonna be able to recover because it was partly your fault. So so this ends up being a negligence question. And then I guess, like Cassandra said, it could be a contract question. If you signed a waiver or something else saying that, I know there's risk, but I'm still willing to do this for this pay.
And I write contracts for construction contractors, landscape contractors, and I add that clause in there. So if it's one of my contracts, you're in trouble.
All right. Question number 8. We're moving along here. Question number 8. Question number 8. Never mind. My employer is not providing me with the proper accommodations for my disability. What can I do to enforce my rights? And this is another question that deals with a very specific area of law. And this is one, disability law is one that, again, is a lot of federal laws, a lot of, bureaucratic guidelines. There's a lot of minutia in there, and the lawyers that practice in that field stay up to date on that. And I don't think,
but we don't.
No, that is an area you'll eventually, if we ask us enough questions like Chat GPT here, you'll find the areas of practice that our firm, while we can help you in a lot of different areas, that's not one that we spend a lot of time on. So I'm going to answer that question, Cassandra, unless you have any insight. I was going to answer it with, you can sue, right?
Yeah, and we're going to refer you out, Robot. We're going to refer you to somebody who does it for, who specializes in this area.
Yeah, you'll run, there's our firm doesn't, immigration's a very specialized field. We don't really handle that for folks. Bankruptcy is a very specialized field. There's these fields where that's, that has to be what you eat and breathe every day to really serve a client the way you need to serve a client. So, yeah, we're going to punt question number 8 because I'm just not knowledgeable enough to answer it. And I know Joseph's not, so we're going to skip it.
Hey.
Yeah, my only thought on that is that I know it involves reasonable accommodations. So one of the weighing factors will be whether or not the accommodations you're seeking are reasonable according to all those very specific guidelines.
Yeah. All right, number 9. I was injured in a motorcycle accident that was caused by a pothole in the road. Can I sue the city for damages? What do you think about that one, Cassandra?
Truthfully, there's some amount of assumption of risk, but if you're able to prove like this has been an existing pothole that they've been made aware of and have made plans to fix but haven't, like I think this is fact dependent too.
Yeah,
what's up with all these fact-dependent questions from this stupid robot?
That's what I'm saying. Just like the client questions, like I need so much more information before I can answer this.
This is the attorney at our firm who would be most qualified to answer this question is not with us today, so that hurts us. But we do have an attorney in our firm who really looks at the personal injury, motorcycle injuries, things like that.
Our motorcycle pothole guys. He's got the day off.
He's on vacation. But it depends on a lot of things. Like it maybe you'd have to prove you'd have a burden of proof. Like if the pothole just came in overnight, of course, the city is not negligent by not filling that. So there's going to be a lot of facts that go into that. But cities do have insurance, right? So cities do have insurance for things like these, and there may be some way to recover there depending on the facts. But we got to stop using our fact-specific loophole to get out answering these questions. So we're going to keep that in mind going into question number 10. I was recently involved in a hit-and-run accident. What should I do?
Well, you probably just go not run. I'd start there.
Yeah, were you hit or did you run?
If you're not the runner, I'm
going to assume this person was hit.
File a police report, file an insurance claim, see if there were witnesses, see if there were any cameras locally in the area.
That's a top-notch answer right there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do some investigation work, but yeah, police report's the first thing. You want to file a police report. Hopefully, you got some insurance coverage that will assist you. I'm getting the flag that we need to take a break, so we're up against a break. We'll be back with our list of hopefully no more negligence related questions.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, your host, pricing attorneys here in North Carolina, joined on the show by Cassandra Nicholas, also an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer out of the Morehead City office. And speaking of locations, Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, and Gastonia. Again, if you've got a legal situation that you are facing and you need some answers to those questions, you can always call the firm. 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what that call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And as always, you can email your questions to the show. We'll answer them on a future program. Questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. We're back right after this.